Well, hello, and welcome to Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp. I had meant to do a podcast last week, but let me just go ahead and break the big news, everybody. I got COVID-19. Hooray! Yes, and I was fully vaccinated. I had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in May. And I think I was overly confident. I think I felt bulletproof because I had gotten the vaccine. So my girlfriend is here with me.
Hi.
Hi. You're so adorable. And I couldn't do the podcast until today because my voice has been out of it.
Yeah.
So here's the story. So we've been in Las Vegas for 2 weeks. Did the first week at the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana. And the week was great, and I think I hugged way too many people because I was feeling overly confident that I had been vaccinated, and I thought for sure there was no way that I would get the virus. But last Sunday was the memorial for Carl LeBeau, and we talked about Carl LeBeau on the show. He's been on the show before, and just a quick recap. Carl had been Sam Kinnison's best friend and opening act, and I talked about this story before on the podcast. How Carl was married to a woman, and then he didn't find out until after, and Sam Kinnison died in his arms, and then he found out after, many years after, he raised a daughter and paid the money Carl did. For a daughter that turned out to be Sam Kinnison's. And it was really difficult for him. He had financial difficulties. So the reason I'm telling that story up front is because at the memorial, Carl LeBeau's family asked for no one to mention Sam Kinnison's name. So instead of mentioning his name, I said that I called him famous comedian. So I told the story about when I was 19 years old, I went to see a famous comedian, and Carl LeBeau opened the show, and he was spellbinding. I had never seen a man move like this. I had never seen a man speak like this. He was like a classically trained actor. He was all the brilliance of Charlie Chaplin rolled into one. And so I'm telling the story like this at the memorial, and I said, and then the famous comedian came out, and he was drunk, and he was coked up, and he sucked. And I actually left that concert that night thinking, fuck famous comedian. And it was really funny and wonderful when I said, I left that concert thinking, fuck famous comedian. The whole place cheered.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to get through it. I cried, and I truly loved Carl. And I think he was a far greater talent than Sam Kinnison ever was. And his family was there, and I hugged so many people at this moment. I think I hugged at least 30 or 40 people at the memorial. What day was that? Sunday, the 19th.
19th?
Yeah, was that it?
I think so.
So I don't know if I got it there or if I got it Saturday night at the Laugh Factory in Las Vegas, but the next day I felt like a train wreck, and I felt like a truck had run me over. And I've been a comedian for 37 years. I have never, ever canceled a show due to illness. I had to cancel the show Monday night, and then Tuesday I went to get tested, and honestly, I thought I just had a cold. I thought I was just doing it as a courtesy to be professional to get tested because I wasn't feeling well. And I'm sitting in the car, and it was interesting. There was a woman came out, and she was really friendly, and she swabbed the inside of my nose, and she was wearing like a turquoise colored kind of, aqua blue.
Really happy color.
Really happy color. Nurse's outfit, and then she said she would be back in 20 minutes with the result. And then 20 minutes later, she didn't come out. A woman dressed all in black nurse's outfit came out and told me that I had tested positive for COVID, and my jaw dropped to the ground. And then on the Monday I was doing the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana, and then the next week at the MGM at Brad Garrett. So we had moved over to the nicer hotel because the Tropicana is really a dump right now. I mean, it's remember we got in the pool. Tell them about the pool at the Tropicana.
Gosh. I did not like that experience. There were just dead mosquitoes everywhere and little tiny leaves all over the place.
Tree bits. And I grew up in Florida with a pool, and, you have to skim it constantly. Nobody had skimmed that pool.
They gotta skim that pool.
Yeah, and everything was dirty there, and the ice machines didn't work. And anyway, it was nice to move over to. I couldn't imagine having to quarantine at the Tropicana. So I had to cancel the whole week at Brad Garrett's, and they were such wonderful people. They really are like family, and they treat comedians so well. They let me stay here at the MGM. So for the last 7 days, so this is day 8 of COVID, and for the last 7 days, we've been quarantined here at the MGM. And there's a big jacuzzi tub in the room, and I had body aches, I had headaches, coughing, sneezing, sore throat. Really had a scratchy voice the whole week. And I'll tell you, that big jacuzzi tub was a lifesaver for my body aches. So that's been nice to get in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm still completely in shock that I got COVID. So how's your experience been?
Oh my gosh. Well, thankfully I don't have any symptoms, but God, looking at you've been a champion, a fighter through all those body aches. You had a fever, your poor throat. So those baths were amazing. And
you've been nice enough to go out and get us food. Oh, after we got the positive test result back in, we went to a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And I stayed in the car. I texted everybody. I had been in contact with for the 10 days before that. And there was tons of comedians that I hugged at Carl LeBeau's memorial, mm-hmm. and people from the club. And you went into Whole Foods and
stocked up on everything.
You stocked up on everything good. Got us tons of fruit.
Yeah. Fruit.
Chicken soup.
A rotisserie chicken, Epsom salts.
A lot of Epsom salt. The Epsom salt baths were really nice.
Yeah.
Oranges. And so how's your Las Vegas experience been? Do you want to talk about the many creeps that have commented?
God.
I think you found out, because you can't drink the water in Las Vegas at the hotels. And I thought it was funny yesterday. You went and got us 2 big jugs of water, and you said you figured out the way for men not to catcall you is to carry jugs of water slumped over.
Yes, slumped over, sweating, heavily breathing in my mask. Yesterday was, so I got those jugs of water, and it was Saturday night, so it was interesting being among all these really glamorous people dressed to the nines. And then I was just carrying these giant jugs of water, trying to, get back home safely.
trying to keep your boyfriend alive.
Trying to keep my boyfriend alive. Yeah, that's the way to do it. If you're a woman walking around alone in Vegas, just put on your Converse and just try and carry these jugs of water. Yeah.
Well, I know we're leaving tomorrow, and it's going to be, 2 weeks in Vegas and just 1 week with COVID, and I haven't left the hotel room mm-hmm. in 7 days. I'm really looking forward to getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And what are your best thoughts on Las Vegas?
My best thoughts on Las Vegas?
Like for me, I'm really happy. I came up with a great new joke mm-hmm. last week.
Yeah.
Where I was talking about. Growing up in Florida with where I grew up in Oviedo, it's 32 miles from Cape Canaveral, and you could see the space shuttle go up in the distance. And they used to when I was in middle school and high school, they used to let the school all the students go out and sit on the lawn Indian style to watch the shuttle go up. But you can't say that anymore. So they would let us go sit on the lawn horribly neglected people style. So I was really, and then I was doing 2 shows a night at the Laugh Factory. I was really in a good rhythm. So good to be doing shows again. And then I was really looking forward to the MGM. Mm-hmm. And who knew?
Who knew? Yeah.
Who knew? And then this week, it's all in the news about people who've been vaccinated that are they're calling it breakthrough cases. People who had been fully vaccinated who are getting the Delta variant. And right now, Las Vegas is a hotbed for the Delta variant, and it got me.
Yeah. We're interacting with a lot of people, I guess. But I'm still shocked.
So, any other good thoughts on Las Vegas?
I had a lot of fun at the Pinball Museum.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. We went to the Pinball Museum. They have a new location now.
Yeah. We did that in the first few days that we were here, I think, that first week.
Yeah, we were going to record last week or at the beginning of this week. And there was like so many happy things I wanted to talk about. And the Pinball Museum was one of them.
That was one of my favorites. Oh, my God. We saw a Kiss pinball machine. We saw an AC/DC pinball machine, a Shrek pinball machine. All these really cool ones.
I think the AC/DC one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Shrek was amazing.
Yes.
And there was one other one.
Which other ones? There was like a disco roller derby one. There was...
I'm still trying to find the Sopranos pinball machine that I played in Portland many years ago. And there's like a safe up at the top, and you got to keep hitting the safe with the ball. That's like the object of it. And then this Sopranos voice comes on after you've hit it a couple times. He goes, "One more to do it." But we've had so many happy things. Like I've been alone all year since you left, January 5th. And you arrived a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Actually, you arrived at the beginning of the month. And we saw Kool and the Gang at the Hollywood Bowl for 4th of July. So
yes, we did.
Yeah, how was that experience?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. We saw these fireworks, and Kool and the Gang was amazing.
I think I got so many great hits. Hollywood
swinging.
Hollywood swinging. That's my
great.
favorite Kool and the Gang song.
That was my first time dancing in public since the pandemic, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, being out in a crowd, and it was really nice.
Yeah,
dancing with you.
Yeah, and dancing. It was, the L.A. Philharmonic Symphony played first, and then Kool and the Gang came out, and then they left, and the symphony came back and played that William Tell Overture, which they always play for 4th of July fireworks explosions. And then Kool and the Gang came back and did Celebration at the end.
That was the best.
It was great. I only had one miscalculation that evening. We took an Uber there because I always think I've been to the Hollywood Bowl 3 times. I saw a symphony the first time. The second time I went there was like 15 years ago. I saw Willie Nelson, and Willie was amazing. And then Kool and the Gang. And I thought, we'll take an Uber there, and then we'll take an Uber home, but we'll walk down after the show. It's about a mile from the Hollywood Bowl to the Hollywood Boulevard. And we walked down there, and there was absolutely no Lyft or Ubers to take. And I haven't taken Lyft or Uber. When I flew home to see my mom in May, I took it. But, I couldn't believe we couldn't find any.
Wow.
We had to wait hours.
It took a really long time. We downloaded both apps. Got nothing.
Yeah, and I've been excited. I've been waiting for my summer to start once you got here. And then the other thing, I got us tickets to see Charlie Crockett in Solana Beach, which is right above San Diego. What was that place called? The Bottoms Up, Belly Up?
Belly Up.
Belly Up.
The Belly Up Tavern.
And I'm a Charlie Crockett fanatic at the moment, and I think you've become one as well.
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh, he was amazing.
I'm from San Benito, Texas. What's the next line?
I'm from San Benito, Texas.
Down a dirty, dusty road.
Yeah.
We had sugar cane and cotton. I used to love to watch it grow. All right, no, we're not selling anybody on Charlie Crockett. The 3 Charlie Crockett records that you should listen to on heavy rotation are The Valley, Welcome to Hard Times, and In the Night. Mm-hmm. I'm just playing the living shit out of those things. What'd you think of Charlie Crockett?
He was such a great performer. Because he does these little dances on stage too, and he's a hell of a spinner. I love a good spin, and yeah, he was just amazing. Just as good as it was just as great seeing him live as even better than listening to him in the car with you in the morning.
Yeah, it was really great, and we were there when the place opened.
Yeah,
we were there when they opened the doors at 7, and the show started at 8. I think he went on at like 9 or something, but we had great seats.
Yeah.
And he played all the hits.
Jenny Don't and the Spurs?
Jenny Don't and the Spurs opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Portland, Oregon.
From Portland, Oregon. Yeah. So
from here, we're gonna drive up to Montana, and I'm gonna get tested up there.
Yeah.
And see if it's possible to visit friends, or if I need to keep staying away from other human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you excited about Montana?
I really want to see bison. Oh my gosh. I really want to see them on the sides of the road and stuff. I've never seen one before. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see visit Montana.
Cool. And I told you, I learned a few years ago that we always say buffalo, but when I was in Montana, I think whatever the last time I was up there, 10 years ago, there were signs everywhere that said bison. So I looked it up, and the only real buffalo are from Asia and Africa.
Wow.
What we have in North America are bison. And the difference between a bison and a buffalo is that if buffalo are put with cows, they never mate. And there's no record of any buffalo ever mating with a cow. And a bison is more closely related to a cow, and they have often interbred. So the difference between a buffalo and a bison is that a bison would get up on a cow, but a buffalo wouldn't. Do you have any factoids
about bison
or anything?
About anything? Come back to me.
Okay.
I'll come up with something.
I read I've been reading the Daily Stoic. Here's a couple good things I wanted to share with you from the Daily Stoic. I'm just so glad to have my voice back again. That's something a comedian needs. Mm-hmm. This is from July 16th. Progress of the Soul. And this is Marcus Aurelius said this in his Meditations. To what service is my soul committed? Constantly ask yourself this, and thoroughly examine yourself by seeing how you relate to that part called the ruling principle. Whose soul do I have now? Do I have that of a child, a youth, a tyrant, a pet, or a wild animal? And then the page goes on to say, to what are you committed? What cause? What mission? What purpose? What are you doing? And more important, why are you doing it? How does what you do every day reflect, in some way, the values you claim to care about? Are you acting in a way that's consistent with something you value? Or are you wandering, unmoored to anything other than your own ambition? When you examine these questions, you might be uncomfortable with the answers. That's good. That means you've taken the first step to correcting your behavior, to being better than those wild creatures Marcus mentions. It also means you're closer to discovering what your duty calls you to do in life. And once you discover it, you've moved a little bit closer to fulfilling it. Okay, and then this one is from today, July 25th. Seneca said this. Seneca on the brevity of life. When you see someone often flashing their rank or position, or someone whose name is often bandied about in public, don't be envious. Such things are bought at the expense of life. Some die on the first rungs of the ladder of success, others before they can reach the top, and the few that make it to the top of their ambition through 1,000 indignities realize at the end it's only for an inscription on their gravestone.
Wow.
Wow, Seneca.
Seneca.
Sometimes our professional commitments can become an end unto themselves. A politician might justify the neglect of his family for his office, or a writer might believe her genius excuses antisocial or selfish behavior. Anyone with some perspective can see that. In fact, the politician is really just in love with fame, and the writer enjoys being condescending and feeling superior. Workaholics always make excuses for their selfishness. While these attitudes can lead to impressive accomplishments, their cost is rarely justified. The ability to work hard and long is admirable, but you are a human being, not a human doing. Seneca points out that we're not animals. Is it really so pleasant to die in harness? He asked. Alexander Solzhenitsyn put it better. Work is what horses die of. Everybody should know that.
Wow. I like that. We're human beings, not human doings.
Not human doings.
Wow.
And I've been really getting into Stoicism. And this, I just started reading, I've been meaning to do this for a while, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. And earlier in the Epsom salt jacuzzi tub, I read this little passage. Keep in mind how fast things pass by and are gone, those that are now and those to come. Existence flows past us like a river. The what is in constant flux. The why has 1,000 variations. Nothing is stable, not even what's right here. The infinity of past and future gapes before us, a chasm whose depths we cannot see.
Wow.
Hey, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Pretty lofty. So, wow, what a time to reflect on my life too. It's a respiratory illness, so my lungs. I felt like I had 50% lung power for most of the week. Yesterday it felt like 80%. Now I feel like I'm 90%. 90% healthy, but that 50% lung power was pretty frightening.
Yeah.
Now I see why people have had to be on respirators and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm really glad you're getting better.
I'm glad I'm better too.
Speedy recovery.
And then, we're gonna go up to Montana, Idaho, and Oregon, and then come back down the California coast. That's our summer trip so far.
How exciting.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, hey, and I have to thank Mark and Tamara, who flew down from the San Francisco Bay Area. It was amazing. It was the day that I found out that I had COVID and I had to cancel the shows for the week here at Brad Garrett's. And Mark and Tamara have been Golden Buddha supporters of the podcast since day one. They're like two of my biggest supporters, loving fans. They've come to see me in San Francisco for at least 20 years. And it was their bucket list thing to come and see me, at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club here at the MGM. And then that was the day that I found out I got COVID. So, and they had just only flown into Las Vegas for one night to see my show. So I felt really bad. I love you guys. Thank you for flying down. I'll make it up to you somehow. We exchanged emails. They got their money back for the tickets and everything. But such a pity because we were going to celebrate, joy in humanity.
Aww.
and laughter together. So, isn't that a bummer?
That is a bummer.
Well, we'll make it up. What's that Charlie Crockett song, that other one? If you don't have time to tell me how you feel, this time tomorrow I'll be out in Bakersfield. Just like a horse running steady down the track, you know that woman, she ain't coming back.
You know I won't be coming back. Can't stop till my work is done.
Run, horse. Run, horse, run.
Yeah!
Yeah! I love that song because he goes, yeah! And he did that in concert, too.
He did!
It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
There's another big thing we were going to talk about that we had done when you arrived in Los Angeles. And I had never heard of this cemetery before. It's got a strange name. It's in Westwood, by where UCLA is, and it's called the Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Cemetery Park, something like that.
Wow.
And this cemetery was the jackpot of famous dead people.
Yes.
We saw Rodney Dangerfield. Mm-hmm. That was a big thrill for me to see Rodney Dangerfield's grave because he was such a hero of mine. My favorite Rodney Dangerfield joke is, I lent a guy $20,000 for plastic surgery. Now I don't know what he looks like. And I found a wallet the other day. It had a picture of my kids in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Who told you could sleep with my wife? Everybody.
Everybody.
Love Rodney Dangerfield. He was just a poor sap that all these bad things happened to him. So on Rodney Dangerfield's grave, it said, "There goes the neighborhood." We saw Farrah Fawcett's grave.
Yes, we did.
And there was Kirk Douglas's grave. And Kirk Douglas it was buried with his wife and then also his son, Eric. And I told you this story at Kirk Douglas's grave, that Eric Douglas had been a comedian, and apparently he hung around Sam Kinison in the 80s. And he looked very much like his father, the actor, Kirk Douglas. And Eric Douglas had a big cocaine problem. And I guess I think that was instrumental in the way he died, that he had struggles with addiction throughout his life. But there's a story that, and I told you this story at Kirk Douglas's grave. There's a story about Eric Douglas that every comedian in London tells. And you remember the movie Spartacus? When Kirk Douglas stands up and he goes, "I am Spartacus," and all the other slaves go, "I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus." Apparently Eric Douglas went to the Comedy Store in London and was dying on his ass. This is the way the story goes, the way I've heard it told many times by English comedians. And he's on stage and he's dying and he says, "Do you know who I am? I'm Kirk Douglas's son." And then one by one, all these drunk English, comedy punters all stand up in the audience and go, "I'm Kirk Douglas's son. I'm Kirk Douglas's son. I'm Kirk Douglas's son." It really, really, I feel bad for the guy if that was really true. But anyway, we've been to his grave. And then Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
There was Marilyn Monroe's grave. And she's buried. Hugh Hefner bought the grave next to Marilyn Monroe's. And then there was some guy that bought I should have looked up the information before. What was his name? Puncher?
I do not
Pincher?
know.
It's Pincher.
Okay.
You gonna Google this real quick?
Yes.
So this guy bought because Marilyn Monroe is buried in a mausoleum, or like a crypt, where it's like the drawers for bodies, that kind of thing. And like Rodney Dangerfield, Farrah Fawcett, and Kirk Douglas, they were all on regular, gravestone burials.
Richard Poncher.
Richard Poncher bought, so he died 23 years ago. He bought the dead body drawer above Marilyn Monroe's, and he asked to be buried upside down, so he'd be on top of Marilyn Monroe. So isn't that kind of disturbing that even in death she's being sexually harassed?
Yes. Yeah, it's really disturbing. It's not worth it. And his wife is buried beside him, no?
Well, apparently she's still alive.
Okay.
Because we looked up that information when we saw it. Mm-hmm. And so she tried to auction off on eBay the I don't know where that phone is. Sorry, it keeps going off. She tried to auction off on eBay the Richard Poncher's his dead body drawer above Marilyn's, and apparently she sold it for like $5 million or something. And then the guy who bought it, I think he was in Japan. Guy said that he didn't have the money for it.
Wow.
So she's going to auction off that spot above Marilyn Monroe for millions, and then apparently move Richard Poncher to an adjacent drawer thing. But I personally think she should cremate whatever's left of Richard Poncher and put that jar out in the garage next to the the bug and tar remover and the cleaning products and stuff.
I agree.
Hey, here's something that I forgot to mention earlier. Carl LeBeau's family, and Carl asked for this to be done. Carl was cremated, and then for the memorial, Carl's urn was on the stage. You remember I got emotional and I stopped and I kissed it during my speech. Carl asked for just a certain few people to get some of his ashes, and they were put in necklaces. Carl loved playing guitar, so it's in like a silver guitar necklace. Pendant, thank you. And it had a little screw thing where there's some of his ashes are inside this silver guitar pendant. So I've never had ashes before because my family's dig a hole and bury you in the ground family. We're not a cremation family. So that was interesting. And then that last show that I had at the Laugh Factory, I took Carl out on stage with me. It was nice.
That's beautiful.
You know, the Carl LeBeau Memorial, the thing I said about him, and I said it was really important for every comedian that was in the room. The thing about Carl, no matter what he went through in life, he never became a bitter turd. The guy had dealt with, even when he had cancer, the guy had dealt with a lot of shitty things in his life, a lot of setbacks, and the guy just always had this really vibrant, joyous attitude. He would always say to me, "Isn't it great we get to do this?" He was so grateful to be a comedian, just for that, at whatever level it is, to be living the dream. And I'm really going to miss that about that guy. So anyway, don't be a bitter turd, even if you're not a comedian. That's really good advice.
Noted.
Any other thoughts on that cemetery we went to?
No, I'm trying to remember who else was there. But those are the big ones.
Merv Griffin was buried there. He was a big TV host. He used to have a daytime show, and then he produced all these game shows. He made a ton of money. Very kind of mildly flamboyant gay host on American daytime television forever. And then he produced all these game shows and made an absolute fortune.
Cool.
Merv Griffin. We saw him. Yeah. And what do you think about a guy that takes you to cemeteries?
Big fan.
Big fan.
I love cemeteries.
I love cemeteries because they remind you to live. That's what they do for me.
Yeah.
And I love going to graves of people I admire.
Yeah. That's really sweet.
It's a good way to honor people.
I've always liked cemeteries. I never would visit people who I admired, who I didn't know personally, until I met you. But I used to love cemeteries just because they're well-kept gardens. Everyone,
flowers, nice
flowers.
pretty flowers around.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then another thing that happened in the last couple of weeks was Natalie, the French woman that I lived with in San Francisco when I was in my 20s. Her mother, Anique, died, and Natalie sent me messages from Paris and let me know she cremated her body and everything. And then Natalie wanted to have a ceremony for her and asked me to pick out an Elvis song and then a non-Elvis song. Natalie's mother, she was really funny. She used to say, the only thing good that America ever gave the world was Elvis Presley and chewing gum. I always thought that was hilarious. And so I picked, told her I picked 2 Elvis songs. That's All Right, Mama, Love Me Tender. And then for the non-Elvis song, I picked Leon Bridges' The River. And that's a beautiful, beautiful song. And I took my mother to the River Jordan in Israel when I took her there. So now when I hear that song, it really, really knocks me out. Wash my sins in the Jordan, something like that.
Beautiful.
And Mama said, always be a good boy. I forget what it says. Beautiful, beautiful song. But Natalie's mother taught me so much. She turned me on to Arthur Rimbaud's poetry. She turned me on to Voltaire, and she was the hugest Patti Smith fan. And when Natalie's mother came to visit us in San Francisco for one of the first times, Patti Smith was playing at this bar called Slim's, and I got her tickets. I got us all tickets, and you should have seen this woman. She was like, she ran to the front of the stage like a teenager, and she just like held her heart as she looked up at Patti Smith the whole concert. It was really, 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 really beautiful. And I took her to her first American baseball game, and I brought her in Paris a Louisville Slugger baseball bat because she was always worried about people breaking in and stuff. Yeah. It was kind of sad. I remember a few years ago, like she had real paranoia about terrorist attacks and stuff. And then when like the Charlie Hebdo attacks happened, it wasn't far from where she lived. And then that those November 13th shootings in Paris and stuff.
Yeah.
So then she was afraid to leave her apartment for a while. And then she had health problems and everything. But the story that I used to tell about Natalie's mother on stage all the time, years ago, was the first time she came to San Francisco, America, in fact. You know, you've got the mom of your girlfriend visiting from another country. I wanted to impress her. So I took her to the Grand Canyon. Why not take her to the, one of the best things that we have to offer? And I don't know if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, but when you're going down into the Grand Canyon, it's a 2-mile hike down, all downhill, and it's happy. You're going downhill, and it's easy, and donkeys are singing, everybody's happy. But then when you're coming back up, it's 2 miles straight up an incline. And Natalie's mother, like a lot of French people back at the time, she chain smoked filterless gauloises. And I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day back then, and 1 filterless gaulois, and I would need to lie down and take a nap.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, very, very seriously strong cigarette. So she's smoking these, she's complaining of chest pains, and then she's smoking these cigarettes with no filter and sitting down on rocks, and it's getting dark. And, we've still got at least another 1.5 miles to go. and we're not even anywhere near, the top, the ground level. And Natalie's mother spoke no words of English that I knew of, but at one point, she, like Fred Sanford having the heart attack in Sanford and Son, she put her left hand on her heart, and she raised her right hand to the sky, and she looked up to the sky, and she kept yelling, "Helicopter! Helicopter! Helicopter!" This woman thought, from watching American television, that anyone who was in trouble in America could get a helicopter instantly by just yelling "helicopter" to the sky. Wouldn't that be great if you were in trouble and you could just yell "helicopter" and then a helicopter comes in and flies you?
Wow.
And I remember getting kind of pissed. I remember telling Natalie, I said, "Listen, tell your mom I don't know what American shows she's been watching, but there ain't no helicopters coming, and she better get her ass up this hill."
Oh my God.
So we made it back like long after dark, and and it was, and that was the joke that I used to tell, that thank God we made it out of there alive, because as the boyfriend, it's very important that you don't kill the mother. Surely that'll come up in every argument you're ever going to have in the future. "Oh, yeah? Well, you killed my mother." Hey, I thought we had gotten over that. I thought we had worked past that. Are you going to keep bringing that up? "You killed my mother." So, yeah, and then also in recent years, when I had been back in Paris, I went out of my way to go visit Natalie's mom, and just very nice. She still had photos of me in her apartment in Paris. Sweet. It was really, really beautiful. Yeah. And then Natalie was going through her stuff and sent me some pictures. Like, I had sent her this Washington Post story of my dad and I when Viva Vietnam came out, when we were on the cover of the entertainment section for the Washington Post. And I had mailed her things through the years and postcards, and always, the woman had a huge influence on me. And so really, really kind of a bummer that she died.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, what else will remind you to live, other than going to cemeteries, is getting COVID-19 for a week. Boy, that'll put some fuel in your rockets. I'm ready to do some living now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm going to make this a short episode today. I just wanted to basically, let you guys know how I'm doing, the terrible thing that happened to me. Hey, one more thing that I've survived.
Yeah.
How many shitty things can happen to somebody? And oh my God. So you left January 5th.
Yes.
And January and February was so difficult for me because you and I had witnessed the suicide that we talked about. Mm-hmm. And then the only reason I bring that up is because a few days ago we were standing on I was standing on the balcony, and some guy screamed, and it scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sorry to bring that up, but it's like that was a really shit. And I don't know if the guy had just had an argument with his girlfriend, or if he had just lost a bunch of money gambling, and then he just walked out onto the balcony and screamed bloody murder. Yeah. And the most chilling fear ran through my spine and up my scalp. It scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah, I came outside because that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to bring that up.
No, not at all.
We've been through a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how have you? What are you looking forward to most on this trip?
Well, I'm excited to see some friends in Portland. I'm really looking forward to that. Being back in Portland is going to be so amazing. But really, I apart from that, I really want to see all the national parks. Animals. I love seeing animals on the sides of the road. Makes me happy. Cows, horses. All of it.
Nice. So this is day 8 of my quarantine. We're going to spend a couple of days quarantining in hotel rooms in Utah. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to see Antelope Island, which is by Ogden. We're going to go to Evel Knievel's grave in Butte. And we're going to go to Helena. I've never been to the capital of Montana. And then Livingston. And then in Livingston is right above Yellowstone. So we're going to go down into Wyoming and go to Yellowstone. And then we're going to drive up to Glacier National Park on the Canadian border and stay up around Kalispell. And then we're going to come back in the top of Idaho. And because always like I've driven straight across Idaho, never come into the top and driven all the way the length of Idaho. So we're going to come in the top, visit Coeur d'Alene. Is supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. I've driven through there a couple times. Always wanted to spend time there. And drive all the way down to Boise, and then go over to Portland and spend a few days there, visit friends, and visit Powell's bookstore.
Yes.
And then we're going to drive down the Oregon coast to Arcata and Eureka, and then bring it all the way back home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's going to be good.
It's going to be amazing.
And and then there was just the phones just started going crazy with weather warnings, and apparently there's like flash flood warnings for Las Vegas tonight. And we can see the sky is flashing with lightning and everything.
Yeah, it looks spooky outside.
It's spooky.
Wow. Spooky.
So hopefully the roads will be intact when we drive out of town like Bonnie and Clyde tomorrow.
Or we'll survive another thing.
Or one more. Yeah.
Yay!
So, any other happy thoughts we can end the episode on? We've got what were the? We watched The Sopranos.
Yes.
Season 1.
Yes, and we watched episode 1 of season 2 of Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy that's back. We've been watching the Olympics. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love the Olympics because it reminds me of like stand-up comedians, how you train your whole life to be perfect for one moment. I like how these athletes in all these different sports have trained just for this one moment. And it's kind of interesting. It shows you how polite the Japanese are. That they were going to put the Olympics on last year. The pandemic hit, so they had to delay it for a year. So they've lost like billions and trillions of dollars building all of these, beautiful stadiums and arenas and stuff. And they're playing the Olympics to empty stadiums. There's no spectators.
Wow.
So they're not generating the income.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how polite the Japanese are. That, let's let the athletes have their day. I think that's really sweet, and that they're doing it anyway. But I'm sure there's a massive outcry in Japan about the horrible waste of money, don't you think?
Yeah, I bet.
So what did we watch? Watched a little bit of the Olympic skateboarding.
Yes.
That was pimp. I watched a little Olympic surfing today.
Volleyball.
We watched volleyball.
Women's volleyball. There's fencing going on right now, which is very cool.
I had to do I was in San Francisco years ago. A lot of times as a comedian, you have to wake up and do these like morning radio shows, but a lot of times they'll make you do like a noonday show. And this was back when I was like really partying hard, and at like 11 o'clock I had to go somewhere in San Francisco, and they decided they would let me do this fencing exhibition. So they had a fencing person, and then I got to fence with the person, and it was cool to do it, and they filmed it for the television. But I was very hungover, and I had a fencing mask on, and you couldn't tell that it was me. So it's like they could have got, hey, Tom Rhodes is playing at the Punchline in San Francisco. They could have gotten anybody and said that was Tom Rhodes in the fencing mask. But hey, for once in my life, I got to put on the fencing outfit and the foil,
that's very
the face
cool.
guard, and en garde. That was pretty cool.
Cool. Now you can fight dragons whenever you want.
That's every time I go to Wales and Scotland, I'm always on the lookout for those dragons. Yeah, that was an old joke I used to... God, what was that joke? That people in England... God, what was it? That English people are survivors. They survived the Germans bombing the shit out of them, and before that for so long, they had to worry about giants snatching them out of their villages. I couldn't imagine. Dragons blowing fire on your family. Unicorns poking you in the ass all the time. I'm surprised there's anybody left on this island. Anyway, that was an oldie but a goodie. Okay, anything else in this notebook? 24-hour flower shops of New York City, because no matter what time of day or night it is, someone needs to apologize for something. Okay. Wait. Where's my other... that other notebook. Anyway, I know there was a... Here it is. Okay. I feel bad that this is a shorter episode than normal, but... We can all be superheroes. Remember that you don't see superheroes hanging around in bars, drinking and worrying. Oh, man. I've got a friend that can throw thunderbolts, and another friend who is bulletproof. And all I have is this surfboard that flies. What's so special about me? That's funny. Insecure superheroes.
I love that.
They're jealous of the other powers of the other superheroes.
That's so sweet.
If you want to be a superhero, you have to act like one. Okay. And opera songs are all the same. I'm grossly overfed. I'm grotesquely overfed. Yeah. Okay. Butterflies only live for a few weeks. That's why you never see them in liquor stores buying lottery tickets and drinking booze in the parking lot. They know that life's too short for frivolous things like that. Anyway, well, I'm feeling a lot better, and thank you, everybody, for your concern. I had such a nice outpouring of love from comedians in Las Vegas. Like, the word got around so quick. My friend Ron Schock's ex-wife, picked us up a meal. My friend Mark Pitta picked us up another dinner. So people have been bringing us food after... the food that you bought at Whole Foods the first day ran out, and it's been so loving. And then another thing, I want to thank Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, and specifically I want to thank Brad Garrett because they let me stay here at the MGM. Whenever you see this big shiny MGM and you're in Vegas, remember that I really sweated it out and had a rough week surviving COVID here, and that was so kind of them to let me quarantine at the MGM. And I just wanted to say in closing that Brad Garrett is such a beautiful, generous man to comedians that he still decided to pay me this week, even though I had to cancel the entire week due to illness. So There's not many loving, generous people like that in show business. And I mean, and when he said that he was still going to pay me, I teared up. You know, I guess
It's so sweet.
So sweet. I mean, I know I'm overly emotional anyway. I cry at a good steak, but I thought that was really, really beautiful of him.
It really was.
Yay. So we're going to do another podcast on our big adventure. And, I hope you're having the greatest summer of your life and creating memories to last a lifetime. And, be careful. That Delta variant is a motherfucker, and it'll break through your vaccine.
Yes. Yeah.
Any words of wisdom?
Be careful. We love you. That's really all that it comes down to. Yeah.
That's why we're sitting here speaking these words, because we love you. So everybody all over the world, all over America, all over everywhere. Thank you for caring about me, and we shall overcome and roller skate and roller boogie.
Yes.
And you want to say that real quick?
Yes. Tom got me some brand new roller skates.
The day you arrived.
The day I arrived.
We got you some roller skates.
And they're really cool too. They're like light green. They're key lime. That's the color.
Key lime. Yeah, and they're suede key lime.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, and the style is boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
They're the boardwalk style, and they are the
They're called
Sure Grip.
Yes, the
Sure
Sure
Grip.
Grip. And I have these awesome pads to go with them that are just pastel colored tie dyes. Yeah, they're very cool. They're very cool. It's quite the outfit.
Very beautiful. And we roller skated along the ocean, and you and I got this. We went to Costa Mesa? No, Huntington Beach. Yeah, and then we went and we roller skated in Santa Monica, where I used to skate with my dad and my sister back in the 90s.
That was so fun.
It was really Newport Beach. That's where we went first.
Beach, yes.
We got your skates, and the woman at the skate shop, Wicked Skates in Huntington Beach, she said, I asked, where's a good place for a beginner to learn? She said, go to Newport Beach Elementary School, and on the beach behind the school is a big blacktop. And that's where we went. And what a great place to skate that is.
It was so perfect. And we saw all these people doing their little dances and practicing on their own. And this one woman came up to me and she was like, are those the new Boardwalk Sure Grips? And it felt really good.
She was like, those haven't even come out yet.
Yeah, it was my first time learning how to skate. And at where did you go with your dad and your sister?
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica. That's where I had my first fall.
That's right.
Right on my butt.
Yes.
It really hurt.
Yes.
And I almost pulled you down too.
It was fun. It feels like the beginning of Three's Company, the old sitcom. You can knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. Where the kisses are hers and hers and his. Three's Company too. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and long may you run, and joy be upon you, my beautiful friends and listeners. Hooray for humanity.
Love you. Bye.